Hello, 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 everyone. Welcome to another live stream with Monterey Bay Aquarium. Hello to Twitch. Hello to YouTube. We're so glad and excited to be here with you today. And today's going to be a fun, special live stream that we're having. It's also our very first live stream of the year. Very excited for all the live streams we were able to do last year. We have a playlist of that on YouTube. But kicking off strong this year with a great list of guests here with me. So my name is Golnush. I'm one of the content creators here at the aquarium. I'm joined by my fellow content creator, Christine. And we have two amazing guests today. We have Joshua from Conservation and Science team, and we have Ando joining us from UC Santa Cruz. Ando is also a scholar with the Black and Marine Sciences, an amazing organization that we're going to get into very soon. And yeah, we're going to have a wonderful discussion today. In the past, I know that we've done a lot of gaming streams and arts and crafts, and those will be coming again hopefully soon. But today we're going to focus on a really good conversation with Ando and Josh on marine protected areas. And Christine also has some experience with this topic. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to have a good conversation. Please put any questions in the chat. We'll try to get to that as soon as we can. But yeah, getting things started, let's just get to know our guest first. So Josh, hello, welcome.
Hi, thank you.
Who are you, Josh?
I am Josh Smith. I'm a ocean conservation research scientist here at Monterey Bay Aquarium.
Yes.
And my research here really intersects coastal marine ecology and also marine protected area science.
Yeah, and I want to also, on the aquarium side, welcome again, Christine. Who are you,
Hello.
Christine?
Hi, everyone. My name is Christine. I work alongside Golnush as a bilingual content creator. So doing all the amazing things on social media and videos and web stories, and also integrating some of our Spanish in there for our Spanish-speaking audience.
Yeah, and again, we're joined all the way from UC Santa Cruz, not too far, but just across the bay, Ando. Hello.
Hello, hi, Galugag, everybody. My name is And. I'm a PhD student at UCSC, University of California, Santa Cruz. I'm studying marine ecology and especially the impact and effectiveness of locally managed marine areas in Madagascar.
We're so excited to have you here with us today. And earlier today, we got to go around the aquarium and just have a really good conversation that I'm hoping we'll get to bring it into this meeting also. Sorry, I've been in a lot of meetings, so my brain was like, meeting, live stream. Also, need to mention that 3 of the 4 people here are banana slugs. So gotta say a little bit of pride there for my fellow banana slug. So if you don't know, if you went to UC Santa Cruz, you are officially a banana slug. So we got some representation here that we're super excited about. Let's dive right in. So could you tell us a little about what marine protected areas are? I know that we have some great slides and also some amazing pictures to look at soon. We're going to kind of jump back and forth between learning more about Anna's work and then also Josh's work. So going back and forth between the aquarium and then state and then global. So yes, marine protected areas, Andos. What is it about?
As you know, marine protected area is a tool for managing marine biodiversity all around the world. So it's a system of managing area in different ways. There are 5 categories that are mentioned by the International Union for Conservation of Nature, or IUCN. And it's a system that aims to protect the biodiversity, species, but also trying to promote a sustainable management of fisheries. So it's a system that is implemented all around the world. From California to Madagascar, from Asia to Africa, all around the world, we are implementing marine protected areas.
Thank you so much. Yeah, and it's something that the aquarium has been, I don't know if I can say like involved in, but just we've definitely been doing a lot of research about it. So Josh, what can you tell us about what the aquarium has been doing around this topic of marine protected areas?
Yeah, well, first, Ando, I really like your description in how marine protected areas are really an ecosystem conservation tool. And they're found all around the world. And there's lots of different, in fact, kinds of marine protected areas. So some marine protected areas, for example, might involve a restriction of fishing activities, while others might do things like protect water quality. And so there's lots of different kinds of regulation associated with marine protected areas around the world. But really, I would say, and I'm curious what your thoughts are as well, Ando. Like I would say, really, it's an ecosystem conservation tool. There are some MPAs that are maybe more geared to protect particular species, but probably less common.
Yes, totally. And I totally agree with you. And the slide that is there, we have about connectivity, habitat connectivity, that it's protecting the habitat, but not and also the species. So it's the combination of the two that we need to protect a diverse habitat, and the connection between different habitats in the coastal area is important. In this slide, for example, we can see that in the marine protected area, usually we protect the mangroves. That's the trees that are in the beach. You can see in the slide. But then we have the seagrass, and then we have the coral reefs that are going down. And the importance of marine protected area is conserving all this ecosystem in a way that they are contributing to each other, and their connectivity is maintained to try to conserve the species, but also the habitat.
Yeah. That's awesome. Thank you for sharing that with us. So Monterey Bay Aquarium has been involved in the marine protected area sphere for quite some time. In fact, longer than I have actually been studying marine protected areas.
Oh wow, that's amazing.
And I'm sure we'll do more of a deep dive into California MPAs here maybe in a bit. And we can certainly unpack a lot of the science that we're doing here at Monterey Bay Aquarium and the monitoring that is also associated with marine protected areas.
Yeah, definitely. Really quickly, on a complete unrelated topic, I saw that Twitch mentioned how we have a really nice setup, and I just had to give a big plug to our behind the scenes folks, especially Joe, who literally just put together that beautiful animation of our logo that you see there last night. They're pretty amazing, and they're doing a lot of great work to make sure all of this is running smoothly. And also Liliana, one of our newer members of the content team, is helping out in the chat also. So give all the love to behind the scenes folks and the guests that we have here. And Christine, you've also have some experience with MPAs.
Yeah, very little, but I do have a little bit of experience. During my master's program, I took a internship for my thesis. I was in France, and I was connected with a well-known marine conservationist in Italy, Maria Sole Bianco, who does a lot of work with marine protected areas, and she founded an organization called Worldwise. And she focuses a lot on like impact, community-driven approach towards marine protection for ecosystems. And so one of our programs was I went and did my thesis there on conservation and communication for marine conservation. And we did a lot of different things, a lot of projects. Like one was, educating in local schools for ocean pollution. Then we did helping divers understand how to dive in marine protected areas in Cinque Terre, in that marine protected area there. It runs along like 5 different coastal villages in Italy. And then the other really neat one was in Sardinia and Golfo Aranci, and that one was focused on, it's called the Gulf of Dolphins, and it's an area in Sardinia has a lot of bottlenose dolphins there. And so I was helping tourists kind of understand the ecosystem and, why we should do like sustainable dolphin watching tours. And what Maria Sole had put together was a project where there's a lot of dolphin watching tour operators in that area. But so she had put together this program where they could be trained and certified as sustainable dolphin watching tour operators. And so, people would go there specifically because it was more of a responsible way of ecotourism. And so even though Sardinia isn't necessarily in that area where we were, not a marine protected area specifically, it's just kind of an example of responsible tourism that could be replicated in other marine protected areas.
Mm-hmm.
It was neat.
I'm really glad you brought up the community approach, which is going to be a big topic today with Ando's work. But really quickly before that, Josh, I interrupted you to actually get back to your topic, which is would love to learn more about your involvement with marine protected areas during your time at the aquarium and maybe even beyond that. I know that a research paper just recently went out about your work, and if you want to talk about that, the areas that it focused on, we've also shared that on social media, but I know UCSB also did a press release on it. So it's definitely out there. Folks are interested to read more. But yeah, tell us more about what that research entailed.
Yeah, so this research is really focused on California MPAs. So California has a network of 124 marine protected areas that are designed primarily to protect and conserve ecosystems. And so in California, there are a few really old MPAs that are a few decades old, but most MPAs in California were actually initially implemented around the year 2007, and this was a product of what we call the Marine Life Protection Act. This is legislation that passed in 1999, and it actually designated the state to design this network of 124 marine protected areas.
120, wow.
124.
24, you're right. Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
And so these MPAs, the expansion of the network began around the year 2007. And around that same time, there was also monitoring. So like Ando mentioned earlier, MPAs in California also protect multiple kinds of ecosystems. And so we have to monitor those ecosystems over time in order to actually evaluate how the MPAs are doing and how they're performing. And so one of the key ways that we actually look at the conservation benefits or the performance of marine protected areas involves looking at whether the species that are protected actually get bigger and they become more abundant.
Right.
And so we can actually look at that using what we call the biomass of species. And one way to think about that is it's like the pounds of fish that are actually in the water in a marine protected area.
Right.
And so this particular study looked at years of all of this long-term monitoring data across many ecosystems in California. And it's something that's relatively new here because, again, there was all of this time that was invested in the design of the MPA network, its implementation, and its monitoring over many years. And so for the first time now, we can actually look at how the Marine Protected Area Network is performing across coastal ecosystems.
Wow.
That's pretty amazing.
You said that's only in California? Or
This particular study
Okay.
that I'm referencing.
Right.
Wow.
Right. And I think we have a slide on the 4 different ecosystems that this study kind of looked at, and I think that could be from there. It could be a good segue. Also, it's coming up soon. Also, thank you to Ando for all these amazing slides, and we're gonna have some amazing photos coming up soon. And anything more specific you want to share about these 4 ecosystems and as to why they were chosen for the study?
Yeah, so we looked at 4 ecosystems, and those included the surf zone, the kelp forests, and shallow reefs, and then deeper water rocky reefs. And so each of these ecosystems were actually sampled using different methods. So as an example, in kelp forests, those ecosystems are actually sampled by scuba divers. So scuba divers go out and they count and size fish, and we can actually use that information to generate estimates of biomass. And then in the deep reef ecosystem, remotely operated vehicles were actually used because those are actually deeper than where scuba divers can go.
Right.
So we pulled together all those different data sets, and we actually looked to see how the Marine Protected Area Network is performing across all of those ecosystems.
Right.
And we found that MPAs in California are really effective at conserving the biomass of fish species, especially those that are targeted by fisheries.
Right. Yeah.
I have a quick question. I remember when I was working in Italy with Maria, I want to say, am I wrong that like California is looked at as sort of like a success example from around the world in marine protected areas specifically?
Yeah, and I'd love to hear Ando's thoughts on this as well. But there's many different ways that MPAs can be designed and implemented. So, for example, you could have a really big MPA that covers a lot of area, or you could have a bunch of smaller MPAs that are located in close enough proximity that there are what we call propagules that are actually being dispersed among those MPAs.
Yes.
And in California, that's the case. We have a network of many MPAs. And so here, this is a system where we have looked at the performance of that network. But in other places, I'm curious about Madagascar too.
Yes, so I have some slides about the network of LMMAs in Madagascar. So in Madagascar, we used to have big MPAs, but then in a marine protected area, we have what we call no-take zone. So that's the place where no fishing is allowed, no extraction is allowed. But then in the buffer zone, which are the places that are most of the time in the coast, we have the management by the local communities. So the communities are managing the area. And the map that you have here is all the management by the local communities that we have in Madagascar. So LMMAs in Madagascar, with the map of Madagascar that you can see, we have like 200.
Wow, 200.
Yes.
Wow.
We started in 2004, and now we have 2,000 LMMAs in Madagascar.
Wow.
Some of them are inside MPA, some of them are outside MPAs, but in total it covers like 12,000 kilometers square of all our coastal area. And if you look at the map, you can see that it's all around Madagascar. Most of the coral reefs and the mangroves are protected through this system of LMMAs. And it's exactly what you said, Josh, that it's a small unit. And I think your paper emphasizes this important that perhaps small units with different kind of management could be useful or more effective in creating conservation benefits than a bigger MPA with just one type of management. But these small MPAs, as you can look at the slide in the map, you can see that they are very well connected to each other. It's like small area connected, and this small area are making this 12,000 kilometers square of protection all around the coastline in Madagascar.
Wow.
So when you say small, like, so does different municipalities manage each like area, or how does that work as like a system?
Yes, totally, exactly, Christina. So it's the local communities, the villages, exactly as you said, municipalities. They are choosing their area, their fishing ground, and then they decide to protect some part of that. I have a slide on that, Joe, that shows the system here. No, the previous one. Yes.
Oh, the one with the looking at a more global scale?
Yes, this one.
Or this one, right?
So this one shows the system, how it works, that they take one area and then they decide to close the area to set it as a locally managed marine areas. And they have some closures, fishing closures on that. They are also managing the gears. They are restricting the species to be fished in the area. So it's a system that is set up by the local communities in their own fishing ground. And most of the time it is inside the marine protected area, because this place, you cannot just ask people to stop fishing when their life is in the ocean. So we collaborated with them and asked them what could be the system to do. And as you know, in conservation, the most important is to find the spawning area, the nursery habitat, that habitat that you have to protect first and to conserve the fish biomass, exactly as Josh explained. So with these local communities, we decided this place is very important ecologically. Do you agree to stop fishing on that for some time when the spawning season is happening, and then also close this area for several months, but you can reopen that, and the spillover effect that Josh was talking a little about can happen, because we close the spawning area, the nursery habitat for several months, and then they are not allowed to fish there. And then we reopen that for some time, but the gears are restricted and there is a management on that. So it's the locally managed marine areas are managing the fishing, managing the area, but also managing the gears. And it's the type of management that you mentioned before, Josh.
Yeah.
That's interesting. When I was doing some research before the live stream, because I did my work in 2016, so I had to like jog my memory. Same in Italy, that Cinque Terre marine protected area. I was surprised that it's only 7.5 miles long, and I was like, that's so small. I forgot. And then I was looking, and it's also just 2 municipalities that manage that specific MPA. So it's just interesting to hear your perspective in Madagascar.
Yeah, and I think too, one thing that a couple ideas we've talked about that people should probably know is this idea of connectivity. We've also talked about propagule dispersal. So what all of this is related to is that most marine animals actually start off as larvae, fish included. And so what is so unique about ocean ecosystems is how those animals actually start off as larvae. So if an area is being protected, those larvae that are generated by adults in that protected area could ultimately end up in an area outside of that protected area, because those larvae are actually transported all over the place by ocean currents.
Right. Yeah. And Ando, when we were talking earlier, going back to the fact that the community and the fishermen are involved, you mentioned how it used to be that folks would try to catch as many fish as possible, regardless of the size. But once those regulations are implemented, suddenly we have healthier, happier, bigger fish coming, and it's actually helping the fishermen also. Do you want to talk a little more about experience of seeing how these regulations help the community and the fish when we let it continue for some time?
Yes, totally. So it's the advantage of having this negotiation, because when we started to set up the marine protected area in Madagascar, and then we know that we cannot exclude the local communities from the management, because they are fishing in the coral reefs, and it's their fishing area, it's their life there. So we ask them that there is some ecological and biological principle that we have to set up, to close, and we explain to them why we should close this area for this time, why we should restrict the gears, because restricting the gears is the most important thing, I think, because of the population is growing, and if they are using destructive gears like harpoon or blasting fish or mosquito nets, it's totally destroying the ecosystem, especially the coral reefs. So we explain to them why closing the area is good, because it's the spawning season, why using the restricted gear is important. And then what is amazing is that they know that, and that's why I was convinced that indigenous and local knowledge are there, because most of the time, that's why the locally managed marine areas work in Madagascar, is that we have a common view, that the fisherman knows that, yes, you're right, this area is exactly where the fish are spawning. That's the nursery place where and we know that, but we are not sure, our knowledge is not convinced, but you confirm our knowledge, and that's really good. So that's why it was I can say not difficult, because we have common view, and the fisherman knows a lot about the marine ecosystem, marine environment. So we have this proposal, do you want to close this? And they say, yes, it's important, that's really important. And even they identify the place by themselves, and we confirm with science, with our surveys, that yes, you're totally right, this one is also a nursery habitat, yeah. So we close the area. And with the gears, it's very important, Gonush, because what's happened is that when we started to tell them, okay, you stop using this kind of gears, it was difficult at the beginning. Right. But then, as you know, when you fish, the bigger fish you get, the better the price is. So they realize after implementing the gear restriction that they get bigger fish. That means more valuable fish. And that's because the small fish, it's not valuable. It's just a pound, but then the price is very low. And if you go in tropical area, the price of the fish can be completely different if it is a very small fish or if it is a big fish. So at the end, they totally agree with the system, and that's how the system, we started in 2004, the first LMMA in Madagascar, and now in 2024, 2025, we are 200. It's like in 20 years, we we multiply by 20. So it's the reason why the neighborhood are getting into the new system, because they see one village adopting the system of LMMA, and then they say they get more fish. It's really working. This system is working, and they ask us, okay, Ando, can you please also implement the same system here in our village? We want to do the same thing also, because we get more fish, and then the fish is more valuable, and that's how it's expanding all around the coast in Madagascar. So at the end, it's valuable for them, because the price of the fish is getting better when they catch a bigger fish.
Right. And it's more collaborative rather than the government just saying this is how it is. It's more of like a collaborative community effort.
Yes, totally. Yeah.
And it's been a topic, that collaboration between traditional knowledge and the science and the way it's moving forward has been a big topic of conversation both at the aquarium and just the field of marine sciences. And another thing, Ando, that stands out from what you shared with us just now is the fact that people are on the ground doing the work every day. And there's a lot of things that are going on in the world that make us feel worried and about what's to come. And experiences like the ones you just shared show us that there's work happening, and there's not only just the regulation aspect of it, but just how much people care also to make changes that help us in the long run, both the human population and the fisheries. I would love for us to start taking a look at a couple of the photos of these fishermen, of these areas. But before that, Josh, do you have anything else you'd like to share?
Yeah, I have one follow-up question, Ando. So earlier we were talking about how marine protected areas around the world can have lots of different forms of regulation. And so you mentioned gear restrictions, seasonal closures. Are there other kinds of regulations that are involved in MPAs in Madagascar?
Yes, in terms of managing the MPA, we have also the no-take zone, that there is some area that are totally closed for fishing and for any kind of extractive activities, and it's really important. But also, I think the one of the interesting regulation, and sometimes it doesn't exist to other countries, is that our fishing area is divided by small-scale fishers in terms of 30 miles. We have 30 miles from the coast that it is just for the small-scale fishers. And the industrial fishers, they cannot come inside this area that are for small-scale fishers. And most of the time for our MPAs in Madagascar, Josh, the industrial fishers are not allowed to fish inside the MPA.
Those no-take zones, sorry, Josh, I was just going to say that's year-round?
Yes,
Okay.
that means that
At all.
yes, that's the no-take zone, that where the no industrial fisheries is allowed to come in this area, because most of the time we are protecting the coral reefs and the corridor for the migratory species. So the industrial fisheries are not allowed to fish in the marine protected area.
Ando, we keep talking about coral reefs. Why is it important to take care of these coral reefs?
Yeah, I love this picture that we have here. It's about many in if we go in we have a global map here about LMMAs, and it shows you the coral reefs all around the world. It's yes, this one. We have most of the time in the red dot you have all the coral reefs all around the world. And Golnush, this area that we call the Pacific, the Coral Triangle, which is between in Indonesia and near Australia, where there is a lot of red dots. That is the most diverse ecosystem place in the world. So coral reefs are associated with marine diversity. So you have a lot of fish there. You have a lot of other species there. It's a lot. Diversity is associated with coral reefs. That's why it's very important that we protect them. But then unfortunately, if you see the LMMAs, most of the time the East Asia, which is Southeast Asia, where we have Indonesia, that doesn't really adopt the system of LMMAs now. but the Pacific and Fiji adopted it, and it's very well used now. So we need to find a good system for coral reefs because it's the most diverse ecosystem in terms of marine habitat and marine ecosystem, and also it's the most threatened because it's people are living there, and the problem of overfishing and all over pressure, human pressure are high. So that's why we need to fight and include the local communities, but also the population, human and ecological process should be together in managing the coral reefs because of the importance of their biodiversity.
Yes, definitely, absolutely. You know, again, I keep talking about these photos, but I'm going to take this time to do a quick plug for BIMS, which is, again, the Black and Marine Science organization that works with organizations and scholars all across the world. And again, Ando is one of the scholars with BIMS. BIMS also has a great YouTube channel that you should all check out. There's a lot of different projects that they do, including oceanjustice.ai that's just went out and is very focused on community bringing in the technologies that we're having advancing in our time, and also bringing community-based knowledge and in helping our oceans. And again, check out oceanjustice.ai and BIM's YouTube channel. But tell us a little more, Ando, about how has it been working with BIMS as a scholar, both on the work that you're doing around MPAs and anything more general that you'd like to share with us about BIMS?
Yes, thank you so much, Golnush. It's an exciting topic for me because I'm a BIMS scholar for UCSC, and I'm supported by the Center for Coastal Climate Resilience. I'm really thankful for the CCR and his director, Mike Bike, who introduced me to BIMS. And when I met Dr. Mo and Dr. Gaines, for me, it was such an inspiration because I'm teaching as a PhD student. I'm teaching, in the class, and sometimes I see the difference, and I was feeling how can I make some change. And when I met Dr. Gaines and Dr. Mo, it was amazing for me that this is exactly what we need. That we need more diversity in marine science, and then we need to help in the ground how we can do. So Black in Marine Science is a non-profit organization that was, and the CEO is Dr. Mo. Dr. Gaines is the BIMS Institute, the chief science officer. And I met them, I discussed with them, and I said, I want to be involved more in what you're doing. So in Santa Cruz at UCSC, I'm trying to help to produce science communication, and that's why I'm here with you, Josh. And that's an important way how to better communicate science, especially marine science, for the local communities, but also for the people who are not used to be in this world of marine science. Because I realized that many people can live near the ocean in the beach, but they are not connected to the ocean. So how can BIMS is working on that, on making the connection between the people who are living near the ocean and making it stronger. We have this BIMS swims, so we train people we train the kids to go and swim. There is some scuba, some diving certificate that BIMS is doing, and all the communication through YouTube channel, like the BIMS Bites or BIMS Dive, or making the communication about marine science, but also what it is to live near the ocean, what it is to be someone who is connected to the ocean, that everybody can be that, because you can live in the ocean but not go to the ocean. So it's trying to make the connection between underrepresented or Black communities who are not very keen on knowing more, or who doesn't know a lot about marine science. And I really appreciate the global aspect, because I attended the BIMS week in 2023, and I was so amazed to meet many friends from Kenya, Tanzania. I'm a member of the Western Indian Marine Science Association, and I met the same people at the BIMS week, and it was amazing for me. I haven't met these people for 5 years, and wow, you are here. Yes. So it's a global network, and I really appreciate the collaboration that we have on marine science, trying to better make it accessible to everybody.
Wow.
That is quite amazing, and we're so excited to see what the future holds for BIMS and for you, Ando, and thank you, Joe, for showing us some pictures. And Josh, anything you want to share before we dive in more into, I want to see, we have some amazing photos of Madagascar and folks working on the fields, and but yeah, before that, any questions you have, anything you want to?
Yeah, I would love to see those. Yeah,
Okay, let's jump right in. And I feel like I keep teasing. I'm like, we have some amazing content coming up. And again, you mentioned, that the diversity in the field and the diversity in the classes is so important. And we were talking, Ando, how you hope that being a TA in those classes helps the younger generations. And I very much think it does. And I'm really grateful how passionate you are, not just for marine protection and marine diversity, but also the people that work in this field, and how we really need all the different perspectives and all the different backgrounds of folks to be involved. So here's some photos of you, younger you, and also with folks at BIMS. And want to tell us a little bit more about, we haven't really gotten the chance to hear how you got into this field, and we get to see you working with the community's photos, but being a little more personal, what got you into this in the field of marine sciences?
I'm always I think I'm very lucky to be one of the people in Madagascar who traveled all around the country. So my dad was a traveler, so he used to take me to protected areas when I was young. So he's interested in coffee, and took me to the tropical forest in Madagascar, the wild forest, and these are where the coffee are growing. And I was like, this is interesting. And I started to discover lemurs and discover other species we have in Madagascar. And I was that's how I get engaged in ecology. I was working on my master's degree, and I was doing some surveys in the field, and one of the researchers from the United States who is working in this area told me, you should do more. Are you a swimmer? Yeah, I can. You should work on marine conservation, not on terrestrial one. And he started to explain to me all the principles that he knows that I'm really connected to humans. So for me, it's the conservation should be with the local communities, with the connection, because these people are living in the boundaries of the forest and living there. And he said, it's exactly what we need for marine, because we are working with fishers, and all of these people are living from that. I think it really fits you to work on that. And I started to be engaged in marine conservation starting from that. And in 2009, I started this position as a marine program manager for an NGO in Madagascar, and I really loved advocating for the local communities. I was the manager. I was supposed to set up the MPA and just do what I should do, but I make it inclusive and then try to include the local communities. And with several friends and colleagues in Madagascar, we set up this LMMA network. So we have 200 now. They are connected to each other. That's something that you need to know, that these 200 have a network. They meet every year, and they have exchange. They exchange their practice. They have a community of practice, and they share a lot about their experience. And it's an amazing network that we set up in Madagascar. So all these 200 that we see, they are connected to each other. Most of them, they know each other. They travel together somewhere and exchange experience, and then they know what's going on in your area, how can we improve. And that's exactly what Josh said, that we need the monitoring, the constant work together, because things are evolving, especially with climate change, and the ecosystem is always changing. So it's some kind of adaptation that we need to have to exchange more experience and share the practice and how to better improve, innovate. It's a word that I really appreciate here in the Monterey Bay Aquarium, innovation, how able you are to always innovate.
Beautiful.
Well, it's amazing to hear that you've been involved in the field of MPAs for quite some time, working as it shows in pictures very directly with the communities. And now as a PhD candidate at UC Santa Cruz, you're coming up and we were talking about how this is your last year and you have to sit behind a computer a lot and keep writing when you like to be out there in the field. So anything specific about your PhD research and your dissertation and what your findings that you'd like to share with us?
I think one important, my PhD is about the impact and effectiveness of this LMMA. I set it up in Madagascar, and now I would like to see exactly as Josh mentioned for the MPA network, if it's working, because there is a lot of pressure now that everybody's questioning, well, does it work? Because we set it up and we need to now to see, to monitor, and then to show if it is performing or not, if it is effective or not. And that's my research here in Santa Cruz. I'm studying the impact and the effectiveness of these LMMAs in Madagascar, exactly as Josh is doing for the MPAs here in California. And the results shows that especially for mangroves, it's really improved the cover, the mangroves cover in the area. And for poverty, because I'm keen on studying the social impact of the marine protected area and the LMMAs in Madagascar, it seems that it's really reducing the poverty, especially when the LMMAs are inside MPAs. They are reducing poverty, and that's a major finding, I think, that I have for my research.
Wow.
That is
Incredible.
quite amazing. Yeah.
It's an amazing connection. Like you said, going back to the people in the community.
Yes, totally.
That's amazing.
We have about 10 minutes left of our live stream. Again, folks, thanks so much for joining us. We're excited to have our very first live stream of the year, be with Ando and Josh here, and also highlighting all the amazing work of BIMS, which is Black and Marine Sciences, and again, MPAs. We're just going to keep saying MPAs, and then you're going to go to bed like, oh, MPAs, Marine Protected Areas. I know what that is. We want to quickly, we're talking about how important MPAs have been for Madagascar, and also globally how important it is to have these community-based systems that help the marine protection of the biodiversity of corals, of I know at the aquarium we look a lot at the biodiversity of kelp. If you have any questions, please put in the chat. But as we're getting ready, Josh,
I do have a question for Josh. I would love to learn more. I mean, you mentioned briefly about your research, here at the aquarium in California, but I'd love for you to dive a little bit more into some of those conservation benefits at the state level, like just like long term and impact that y'all are finding now, but like long term too.
Yeah. So in that recent paper we were talking about earlier, we looked at the conservation benefits of marine protected areas in California primarily through the biomass of fish species, and in particular those fish species that are targeted by fisheries. And we found that over time that biomass inside of protected areas increases. And so factors like MPA age are really important. So the older or the longer an area is protected, then the greater returns for conservation benefits we actually see. And Ando was talking earlier about also the protection of habitats. And so we see that in California as well, that MPAs that include lots of different kinds of habitats, like a range of depth zones, hard and soft substrate, kelp forest and surf zones, MPAs that include lots of different kinds of habitats are actually really strong at conserving the biomass of fish species.
The diversity of it all. That's wow.
Yeah, that's pretty amazing. I'm also seeing in the chat, people seem to be really excited about the work that's being done. Again, yes, it's so important to look at on-the-ground work that people are doing all around the world to help our planet, help our animals, help each other. And cool to see that folks are streaming this to other people. Again, one of the big aspects of these live streams that we host is to make educational and just marine science really inspiring in a fun way. So every month we come well, last year we were able to do it every month. I'm not going to come here and say that we'll definitely doing it every month this year. But we love to do these live streams with different people from the aquarium, from others, scientists like Ando who are in the field, and just talk about different aspects of marine protection and marine science and how important it is. So check us out on YouTube and Twitch to check these live streams. And when we don't have these live streams, we have our live cams and you get to see cute animals on exhibit. So either way, you should check it out. We're going to look at some beautiful photos of Madagascar again. Ando, anything I haven't asked or anything you want to share about your work, about MPAs, Madagascar, UCSC, anything you want to share?
Yes, I started a project with the Cali DNA. eDNA is environmental DNA, so we have a very great lab in at UCSC. And Josh, I study Pillar Point, marine protected area in California. So we started this project on assessing the biodiversity of Pillar Point. Is in Half Moon Bay. It's a marine protected area, and we started to assess the management of how is the species diversity in the MPA compared to the non-managed area in Pillar Point. We have data from 2017 that were collected by Dr. Rachel Mayo. At that time, she's the head of the Cali DNA lab, and she's an adjunct professor at UCSC. And we collected we sampled the same site 7 years ago, 7 years after, to see what is the difference after 7 years. And it's exactly what Josh said about the longer term, that it seems that in 2017 it was not really different, but now it seems that the species is different now after 7 years. And I'm really excited to share more and to see the result, because we are processing the data now, and we are really keen on seeing what are the impact of the MPA on species, especially using different kind of tools like eDNA, which can be, I think it has a very big potential in the future in making assessment, perhaps helping in the part when you don't have visual information and you cannot assess using the biological assessment. Perhaps the eDNA can really help and support the management of local communities. So I'm excited to work with Dr. Mayer and all her team about that in the future. How Pillar Point is doing.
Yeah, that is so cool. So we talked earlier about different ways of monitoring and assessing MPAs that include visual surveys, either by divers or remotely operated vehicles. But eDNA is another tool, right? And so I'm certainly not an expert in eDNA, but we can actually, for those listening, we can actually detect whether a species is present just by whether we find its DNA in the water.
That is amazing.
How are you collecting that? What does that look like?
So we collect the samples. So we collect just the water. We collected water samples, and then we collect the sediment in the beach, and then we process the data. We do the sequencing and the meta barcoding, and we can detect the species using this tool. Yeah.
The technology advances. That's amazing.
That is so cool.
And you said that's in Half Moon Bay where you're practicing that?
Yes, but we are processing the data at UCSC because we have a wonderful lab at UCSC who is working on eDNA. It's called Cali DNA, Calcom as California, and we are processing the data there. So we collected the data in July, and we are processing it now.
Wow.
Just taking some water samples, and you can detect the species, exactly as Josh said.
And are you all working across all MPAs in California, with specifically your research and this new technology, or is this just specific MPAs?
Just one in Pillar Point.
Just that one, okay.
But it's we can make that in over any over MPAs using that.
That is so cool. I hope that depending on what's possible and what that research finding is, that we get to do more eDNA work in the future. And I see that in our Twitch chat, we got a question from Crazy Legs that, that's a big question. What's the most exciting recent development in conservation in the past few years? I mean, there's so much that has been done, but I would love to hear both from Josh and Ando. For you, what is the most exciting research, either regarding your work or just the work that you've been reading and studying?
Okay, so far. I think reading Josh's paper is really exciting for me because the conclusion was the network work, but it needs to be inclusive. So it needs to have several tools of management like water quality or fisheries management. It should also include diverse habitat. So just the big picture of just one MPA with one single management system, that it confirms that we need over way of managing the marine protected area, which are the LMMAs. So it's a confirmation that we need to be more inclusive and be more diverse in our management, but also in the habitats that we are conserving, not only conserving species, but trying to be more diverse in the habitat, and including the local communities is important. So Josh's research and other people's publications now that are coming is really showing that we need this diversity when we manage the marine protected areas all around the world.
That's pretty great. Josh, how about you?
Yeah, wow. Well, I would say that a lot of marine protected areas, both in California and around the world, have when they've been assessed, they've looked at individual ecosystems or particular habitats. And so a really recent conservation development is how we can now, in the California system, actually look across ecosystems and actually say something about how effective MPAs are across coastal ecosystems. And it's super exciting because this is really the first time we've been able to do this. We now have the data to actually look at that question. And so that's really exciting, to look at the conservation benefits of MPAs across coastal ecosystems.
Yeah, that is so cool. Christine?
And be able to share that globally and, the networks that you all have to, share those benefits around the world. That's incredible.
Anything that excites you about recent developments in conservation, Christine?
I loved what you said, Ando, because I'm also a really big people person. I really love that, you're seeing that across time, that because of marine protected areas and because of the work you're doing, you're seeing actual decrease in poverty. I mean, that's incredible, because I remember one time a friend told me, we were talking about just my passion for oceans and for ocean conservation, and she was like, I love your passion, but for me, I'm more of a people person. And I thought to myself, oh, interesting, I'm not communicating well enough how ocean is actual people work,
Yes.
And so to hear that directly from you, that your work in Madagascar is literally decreasing poverty and people are being able to directly work and protect the ocean, but at the same time have lift their well-being and their way of living, that's incredible. So thank you for sharing that. That's enlightening, and I actually want to see around the world where else that's happening, because I'm sure it's not just Madagascar.
Yes.
Yeah.
And especially it's more significant when it is inside the MPA. When it is outside, it's less significant in reducing poverty. It should be inside the MPA.
Wow. That's beautiful.
That is so cool. I'm so excited that we got to have this live stream. There's so much I learned. I hope that our audience on Twitch and YouTube learned something new as well. I'm going to do some more research on this eDNA, because that is just so fascinating also. And Ryan is asking, why do fish swim?
They don't all swim.
There we go. Yeah, there's also that.
Some of them have to swim to breathe.
Yeah, some will have to that. Yeah, maybe we should just have that. Could be our next live stream. Why do fish swim?
We can do more on eDNA also in the future.
Yes, it will be really amazing.
Another excitement for me when you ask about conservation. What is the excitement is this new tool, the innovation that we have now, that could be combined, of course, with the visual surveys. It's important to have the visual surveys to confirm the existence, but having this tool that just for taking waters and you can almost know what species are there and almost which are not there, and then do the visual assessment in a more guided way. I think it's really powerful.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. I just want to say it's been so amazing hearing about your experiences and the research you're doing. So thank you so much for sharing your knowledge with us.
Yes, thank you so much. And as you know, we are Banana Slug. You are graduated from UCSC for your PhD. I'm doing it, and Goldnush is graduating from UCSC. Graduated from UCSC. I hope I will graduate soon.
Yes.
I was
Congrats, very
talking
soon.
to Ando earlier that part of me has been itching to get into PhD. It'll be really funny if I also join you two as a fellow. I did my undergrad there, but it'll be funny if I join the list of folks who get their PhDs at UC Santa Cruz. Again, thank you so much, everyone who joined us today. We had a lively conversation about MPAs, going from anything local in Monterey, Half Moon Bay, and state level or across California, all the way to global MPAs and learning about Madagascar. Amazing thanks to folks at Black and Marine Sciences and BIMS. Check them out on YouTube. Check out oceanjustice.ai, which is a really amazing program that they're working on right now. And happy Black History Month. Black History every day, all day. And yeah, anything else we want to chat about?
Somebody in there's asking any actions everyone can make to help ocean protection. I always go to get outside, go to the ocean if you can, look into the blue horizon, and just like connect, because I think that's what inspires love and dedication and conservation. It comes from that like love and care.
Yeah,
I
definitely.
don't know if y'all want to share anything.
Yeah, I'll completely echo that. I mean, that is really what got me into the field of marine ecology, was just going to the ocean. I didn't grow up by the ocean, and so just experiencing the ocean was something that was really important, and I encourage people to really engage. And if you're not if you're not located in close proximity to the ocean, there are other ways you can engage and continue to support policy that works for people in nature.
Yeah.
And that's exactly the purpose of Black in Marine Science, that they try to engage people in marine science, and the collaboration between the UCSC Center for Coastal Climate Resilience and Black in Marine Science is one example of that. How we can find new innovative way that resilience is with local communities, is with communities. So that's the purpose of my scholarship, to make the connection between coastal resilience, but also Black in Marine Science and all the communities that we need to be resilient. And ocean is our life.
Yes,
Beautiful.
definitely. Thank you to Liliana and Joe for being our behind-the-scenes wizards and gurus today. And I hope that everyone has an absolutely fantastic day. Again, go check out BIMS, check out our YouTube and Twitch, and check out BIMS's YouTube. And stay curious and have a great rest of your day. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us.
Bye. Thanks for joining.
Bye-bye.